Excuse me. Hi.
Hello.
I was on my way to check out old Stevie Madden
Okay, yeah.
for some new shoes, and I saw you.
And I have Steve Madden too.
They didn't pay you to say that, did they?
Oh no.
You're not cross promoting for El Stevo?
I mean, I like it, so why not?
I like what you've done with your makeup here. So I have to get going.
Yes.
But before I go, Instagram real quick. I know you got a customer to deal with here.
Underscore. Okay.
Fellas, do you freeze up at the thought of approaching a girl in public, at the mall? Guys, you're not alone, okay? But just imagine being able to confidently walk up to her and strike up a conversation that leaves her wanting more. It's possible, it can be done. I'm gonna show you guys in this video 5 proven approaches that you can use to conquer your fear of cold approaching girls, specifically at the mall. I'm also gonna be going into detail about the different openers you can use on both workers and shoppers, right? Girls working at stores or girls just shopping. I'm gonna break down a different strategy for each of those. I love shopping malls, all right? There's a huge concentration of hot girls walking around. Girls want makeup, girls want clothes, girls spend a lot of money on these things to improve their appearances. So they're filled at malls. They're everywhere at malls. Guys, if you ever want a tip on where to find hot girls, Starbucks is always a good go-to. Starbucks is definitely a good go-to spot. However, when you're walking around the mall, you wanna make sure you avoid walking around like a Terminator, like,
I am here to acquire your number.
don't make it look like you're walking around chasing ass, okay? Look like you're walking with purpose, right? Because girls are very observant, right? So you want to at least make it come off as you are, that you're walking around with purpose. That's first and foremost. Personally, what I like to do is I like to go to some of my favorite stores, right? I'll go to Foot Locker and see what new shoes they have in, right? But there most likely will be a good-looking girl working there, and the best part is she'll come to me. This is actually an extremely good strategy, okay? And I'm gonna go into detail later on in the video about why this is such a good strategy. Number 1 is the compliment opener. This one is a direct version of this. So, one thing you wanna keep in mind is you wanna be observant. If you're gonna go and use a compliment opener on a girl who's working, you might not wanna just go do that while she's dealing with a customer. That wouldn't be my best bet or my best recommendation. Make sure that she's by herself or she's with a coworker when the store is quiet, right? When the store isn't, slammed with people everywhere. You want to make sure it's a unique compliment. Don't just go up and say, "Hey, I thought you were hot," right? Because thousands of other guys will say that, right? You can go up and say, "Wow, I really like your style," right? You could say something like that. Observe her outfit. Observe what she's wearing. Now, if you're just going to go up and compliment a random girl, that's fine, who's shopping. That's a different story, right? You can just go up and say that in that way. But guys, just make sure it's a unique opener, okay? Just make sure it's a unique compliment, not a generic compliment that she's gonna hear from 5,000 other guys, right? You wanna make sure that you're standing out from Johnny Average and Joe Blow in everything that you do. Now, another thing you could do is you could use this unique compliment opener and you could go up to a girl at Foot Locker, for example. And girls at Foot Locker are usually in the white and black shirts. So I like to go up and say, I've always had a thing for referees. You could say that, that's really direct. What? And then you can make a joke. All you need is a whistle, right? Or you could just go with the classic, I thought you were cute, so I had to come up and say hi. Number 2, the opinion opener, right? So what you want to do is you want to take your environment into play here when you do this, right? So let's say you walk into, again, Foot Locker. You walk into Foot Locker, you go over and you look at the Nike section, right? She comes over and says, "Hi, can I help you find something?" or whatever. And you say, "Yeah, you can. I'm wondering, why don't you guys have a lot more Adidas here? Adidas is way better than Nike," right? And then, you can state a bold claim like that. What you could do from there is you could look down at her shoes and say, "Oh, okay, I see you're an And One fan. Why is that?" Is you guys want to make sure that you're not just talking about that one thing the whole time, right? You want to make the conversation more personable. You want to ask her more questions about her, right? Whatever the case is, that's just one way to go about it, right? Let's say you see a girl who's walking around carrying 10 shopping bags, right? You could just go up to her and you could say, "You almost need a third hand there, eh? You went a little crazy, huh?" When she says, "Oh yeah, I couldn't help it," whatever. But it's an opinion, right? You state your opinion and then you get her opinion on something, or vice versa. The best way to approach a girl at a mall is to know if she's interested in you. How do you know that? Download my free guide, 26 Signs a Girl Wants You to Approach Her. And guys, I give lots more tips on how to cold approach girls in any situation, what lines to say, so make sure to subscribe right here to improve your dating life. So number 3 is the direct opener. This will bypass all the bullshit You know, you just straight up go up and approach a girl. I was walking by and I saw you and I had to come up and say hi. But again, it's gonna make a difference on how you go up and approach them. So if you were to go up and do that to a girl who's just walking by, you could go up and say that, introduce yourself, hi, my name is this. And then what you could do from there is you could kind of gauge her interest in certain things. You could gauge her interest in certain stores. Now tell me, are you gonna make any purchases today or did you just do some window shopping, right? You could say something like that. You could say something related to the environment that you're in, right? Wherever you guys are. And then you could take that conversation and move it forward, right? But you wanna make sure you keep changing the topic of conversation. All right, so the indirect opener. This would be a great example to use going back to our lovable store, Foot Locker. I've done this before too. And I know that the girl's there. I know that the girl's there. I'll kind of head over in her vicinity. But the main thing you wanna keep in mind here is that you wanna make sure you're there for purpose. You're there with a purpose. You're there with intent. So you go over, you're looking for shoes, you're kind of browsing. You know that she's gonna come over and ask you, okay, do you need help finding anything? As she comes over, you can say, oh, I'm just casually browsing. I like this shoe here. Is this new, right? You start talking about the shoes, but you're actively browsing, right? You want to make sure that you don't just turn all your attention to her right away. Oh, I'm like, oh yeah, what about this, right? You're turning over to her every now and then. Like, you want to make it seem like she's kind of slowly winning you over, right? You're still browsing, you're still looking. Oh, I really like this, okay. This really separates itself. I haven't seen this kind of shoe. I really like the make here. You don't happen to have a 13 in these, do you? Right? Whatever you're going to say, but then you change the topic. And then slowly but surely, she's gaining more of your attention, right? As the conversation starts to drift away from the shoes to more personal tastes and stuff, that's when she can acquire more of your attention. And then you start to get to know her a bit. But the great thing is that, you know, customers can't really come up and steal her away because she's over there dealing with you. And if you want to buy more time, you can ask her, yeah, can I get a 13 in these? She comes back, you still have that playful banter. Maybe you are there to buy shoes. That's great, but why not combine it in both, right? If you were to walk into Victoria's Secret and you were to make an indirect opener, what you could do is you could just say, do you think this would look good on me? But then she'd be wondering, like, why the fuck you're in Victoria's Secret by yourself when you're a guy. So that example might not work the best. So another thing you could do is you could go to Starbucks, right? The haven of hot girls around the world, right? As you're waiting for coffee, you could say, decisions, huh? When you're looking around at the menu, and then the girl could go, yeah, or whatever she says, I know what I'm getting. And then what you could do from there is you could say, you know, I've been to Starbucks twice. By far, the best drink I've had here, the caramel spiced latte, or whatever it is, right? Say anything about coffee, right? You could make a bold claim, like, you know what? I just haven't found anything that's strong enough. I need something with a little kick to it, right? Okay, now guys, this is by far my favorite style of approach, okay? I love doing the commentator style, right? So it's so simple, yet it works so well. You literally just comment on something you see and then relate it to her. So an example of this would be like if she's sitting, you know those fountains, right? That are usually at malls where there's like, you know, pennies in the bottom there. If she's sitting there on her phone, just be like, no, it's a little hot. Did you want to just jump in there and maybe go for a swim, you know, cool off a bit, right? You could just do that, or you could just commentate on something you notice, right? The way she's walking, right? If she's just kind of casually taking her time. Well, a lot of people, I don't know, they just look like they're in such a hurry, right? But you seem like you're, you know, stopping and enjoying the flowers, right? Life is so short, and you look like you're just appreciating it. You're just enjoying your time here. And then she'll open up, right? She'll be like, okay, well, I don't really have much to do, or, oh, I'm just kind of waiting for a friend, whatever it is. You're in the door now. So now you know exactly how to start a conversation with a girl, but sometimes the conversation falls flat on its face, right? It's a huge sticking point a lot of guys have, but I'm gonna help you fix that. Here is how you can carry on a conversation with any girl. You'll never run out of things to say by watching this video.